Well, Shalom, thanks for joining me. Numbers chapter 32. There's some interesting things here. The Israelites were to they were to cross the Jordan and begin to take the land of Canaan. What we call it Canaan would be Canaan, would be their way of pronouncing it. But the land of Canaan, that's called the Holy Land, the Promised Land, the land of milk and honey. So they were supposed to do that, but before they cross over this Jordan, they're on the east side of the Jordan River, which is today the land of Jordan. And above it is part of Syria, and south of that is part of Saudi Arabia. And so this land on the eastern side is pretty good. And they're fighting battles and they're winning. And two tribes, the tribe of Reuben and the descendants of Gad, they looked at this land and they said, this is pretty good land. Why don't we just use this as our inheritance? And so this is what this chapter is about. How do you divide that up? How do you deal with that? So the descendants of Reuben and the descendants of Gad had vast quantities of livestock. When they saw that the land of Yazir and the land of Gilad were good for livestock, the descendants of Gad and of Reuben came and spoke to Moshe, Eleazar the Cohen, and the community leaders, and they said, Tarat, Divan, Yazir, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elah, Elalah, Zavam, Nevo, and beyond. The country that Adonai conquered before the community of Israel is livestock country, and your servants have livestock. If you regard us favorably, they went on, let this land be given to your servants as their possession, and don't have us cross the Jordan. So Moses answered the descendants of Gad and Reuben, are your brothers to go to war while you stay here? Besides, why are you trying to discourage the people of Israel from crossing into the land Adonai gave them? This is what your fathers did when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to Eshcol Valley and saw the land, they disheartened the people of Israel so that they wouldn't enter the land Adonai had given them. Adonai's anger blazed up on that day, and he swore, none of the people aged 20 or more who came out of Egypt will see the land I swore to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, because they haven't followed me unreservedly, except Caleb, the son of Yefuneh, and Kenizi, and Yehoshua, the son of Nun, because they have followed Adonai unreservedly. Thus Adonai's anger blazed against Israel, so that he made them wander here and there in the desert 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the sight of Adonai had died out. Now you, another brood of sinners, have arisen in your father's place to increase still more fierce anger of Adonai toward Israel. For if you turn away from him, he will leave them in the desert again, and thus you will cause the destruction of all these people. Moses was not happy. But they came up to him and they said, here, we will build enclosures for our livestock and cities for our little ones. But we ourselves will be armed and ready for action to march at the head of the people of Israel until we have brought them to their place. Our little ones will stay in the fortified cities here because of the people now living in the land. However, we will not return to our own homes until every man in Israel has taken possession of his land for inheritance. We will not have an inheritance with them on the other side of the Jordan, westward, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this side of the Jordan, eastward. All right, so what they said was, we're going to build cities, we're going to put our livestock here, but we ourselves, the men of war, we're going to cross the Jordan with you and fight this battle, and we will not return to this new land for us until after all this land has been conquered and all the people are settled into their possessions on the east side, on the west side of the Jordan. We're on the east side, and when that war is over, we'll come back home. And Moses replies, if you will do this, this is verse 20, if you will do this, if you will arm yourselves to go before Adonai to the war, and if every one of your soldiers will cross the Jordan before Adonai until he has driven out his enemies ahead of him, and if the land has been conquered before Adonai, and only after that do you return, then you will be clear before Adonai and before Israel, and this land here will be yours to possess before Adonai. But this is important. Pay attention to this. You might want to mark this verse right here. This is an important verse to pay attention to. But if you will not do this, then you have sinned against Adonai, and you must understand that your sin will find you out. Build cities for your little ones and enclosures for your sheep, then do what you said you would do. your sin will find you out. That's a principle. Mark that. Pay attention to that. You can't escape your sin. You can be forgiven, but it doesn't escape the consequences. And if you won't confess your sin will track you down. Somehow or another, it'll be found out. Keep that in mind. Best come clean. Best to confess. Best to repent and turn away from sin than to let sin track you down and expose you. So verse 25, the descendants of Gad and the descendants of Reuben said to Moshe, your servants will do as my Lord orders. Our little ones, wives, flocks, and all our livestock will be there in the cities of Gilad. But your servants will cross over, every man armed for war, before Adonai to do battle, as my Lord says. So Moshe gave orders concerning them to Eleazar the Cohen, Yeshua the son of Nun, and the clan leaders of the tribes and the people of Israel. Moshe said to them, if the descendants of Gad and of Reuben cross over the Jordan with you, every man armed for battle, before Adonai, and if the land is conquered before you, then you are to give them the land of Gilad as theirs to possess. Remember, Moses is not going to be there to enforce this. So this is why he's passing this information down. But if they do not cross with you armed, they are to possess land along with you in the Canaan. So in other words, if they don't fight, they're supposed to cross back over here and get back over here with us, not stay over there on the other side. Verse 31, the descendants of Gad and of Reuben answered, we will do as Adonai has said to your servants. We will cross over into the land of Canaan, armed before Adonai, and the land we will possess for inheritance will be on this side of the Jordan. So Moshe gave the descendants of Gad and of Reuben, and also to the half-tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of the Amori, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the country and its cities within its borders, along with their surrounding towns. The descendants of Gad built Divan, Tarot, Aror, Atrat, Shofan, Yazir, Yogbiha, Biet Nimrah, and Biet Haran, fortified cities, and also enclosures for sheep. The descendants of Reuben built Heshbon, El-Elah, Kiryat-Tayim, Nivo, Beelman. These names have been changed. And Sivma, they renamed the cities they built. The descendants of Machir, the son of Manasseh, went to Gilad and conquered it, dispossessing the Emori who were there. Moshe gave Gilad to Machir, the son of Manasseh, and he lived in it. Yair, the son of Manasseh, went and captured its villages and called them Havat Yair, villages of Yair. Novak went and captured Kinat, its villages, and named it Novak, after himself. How about that? Chapter 33 is just, I'm not going to bother to read all of it, but it is a description of all of the places where Israel went in the wilderness. But there's one interesting verse in this entire chapter, a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do this in the next video.